how many rental properties would you actually need to never work again? Most people think the answer is 50, 100, some huge impossible number reserved for the rich. The real answer for most people watching is somewhere between 6 and 14. That's it. And by the end of this video, you'll know your exact number and precisely how the maths works. Because once your freedom has a number, everything changes. I'm Kayley, the Yorkshire Property Sourcer. We help busy professionals build hands-off property portfolios. And today I want to walk you through the single most powerful calculation in property. Not theory, not motivation, actual numbers from the actual towns we buy in that turn one day I'd like to be financially free into a target you can count. I'll share our own numbers too, because Dale and I worked ours out years ago, and it's the reason we do what we do. Quick thing before we get into it, this is a small channel and we make these videos ourselves. So if there's one thing that will genuinely help us, is you hitting subscribe. That's the only thing we'll ever ask you to do. Do that and we'll keep turning up every week with straight, honest property advice. No hype, no jargon. Right, let's get into it. Everything starts with one question. How much does one rental property actually pay you every month? Let me give you real figures from a part of Yorkshire. A two-bed terrace house in Goole costs around £90,000. It rents for around £750 a month. Take off the mortgage and you're left with roughly £470 a month in your pocket. A two-bed in Castleford, around £120,000, renting for £850. After the mortgage again, roughly £475. A three-bed in Pontefract, around £170,000, renting for £1,000 a month. After the mortgage, roughly £470. Do you see the pattern? Different towns, different house sizes, different prices. And a well-bought rental round here lands in the same place, roughly £470 a month per property. Remember that number, £470, because it's the building block for everything that follows. Now for the fun part, let's work out your number. Take the salary you need to replace and divide it by what one property pays you. Here's how it comes out. If you earn £30,000 a year, that's £2,500 a month. At £470 per property, you'd need around 6 properties. £40,000 a year, around 8 properties. £50,000, around 9. And even a £75,000 salary, a serious professional income, works out at 14 properties. 14, not 50, not 100, 14 ordinary terrace houses in ordinary Yorkshire towns, and a £75,000 salary is fully replaced. I told you I'd share ours. Years ago, Dale and I sat down and did exactly this exercise with our own salaries. And our number came out at 14. I can't tell you what knowing that number did for us. It turned a vague dream into a plan, and we could actually count from that day on. The property was never just an investment, it was a step. That's what knowing your numbers does. It changes how you see every decision that follows. So pause the video if you like and do yours. Your monthly salary divided by 470, that's your number, write it down. And if you're happy to share, drop it in the comments while you're there. Just the number on its own is fine. Now here's where it gets genuinely exciting, because everything I've just described, that's only one of the engines running. Every month you own a well-bought rental, 3 things are happening at once. 1, the rent lands, that's a £470, the bit everyone sees. 2, quietly in the background, the property is growing in value. The areas we buy in have historically grown around 5% a year. On a £150,000 house, that's roughly £600 a month being added to your wealth without you lifting a finger. And 3, the rent itself rises over time. What a house lets for today is not what it lets for in 5 years. Your income is an escalator, not a flat line. Let me show you what those engines do together over time with one real example, the kind of deal we're finding on the ground in Goole right now. That £90,000 two-bed, to buy it, you'd leave roughly £30,000 of your own money in the deal. Deposit, stamp duty, legals, everything. Hold it 10 years. The cash flow at today's rent pays you roughly £56,000. The growth at 5% a year adds around £55,000 more. Together, that's £110,000 from a £30,000 invested. Nearly 4 times your money from one ordinary house. And that assumes that your rent never rises once in 10 years, which it will. That's the total return, and it's why property hooked us and why it hooks everyone who properly understands it. Cash flow pays you now, growth pays you later. The combination builds wealth that neither could do alone. Now the obvious question, if your number is 8 or 10 or 14, surely you'd need 14 deposits. 14 lots of £30,000, no. And this is the part that makes the whole thing achievable. You need your first deposit and maybe your second. After that, the portfolio starts helping to build itself. Because when you buy below market value in areas that grow, equity builds up in your properties. And every few years you can remortgage, release some of the equity and use it as the deposit on the next one. The same money recycled doing the work over and over. That's how ordinary people on ordinary incomes end up with 8, 10, 14 properties, not by saving 14 deposits, by buying well, being patient and letting the equity do the heavy lifting. Which means the real gap between you and your number isn't money, it's 3 things. Buying the right houses in the right towns at the right prices. Not overpaying ever, because everything downstream depends on buying well and staying in the game long enough for the engines to compound. One house at a time, that's genuinely all it is. And that's exactly where we fit in, so let me keep this short. Finding those right houses at the right prices in the right town, that's our full-time job. We're talking to agents every day, spotting the motivated sellers, negotiating hard and checking every deal against the numbers you've seen in this video before it ever reaches an investor. Then we handle everything else. The purchase, the tenant, the management, all of it. We do it for investors because we've done it for ourselves. Same towns, same houses, same maths with our own money. Our whole approach was built the day we worked out our numbers. Everything we've bought since has followed the same plan. So let's land this properly. Your freedom has a number. For most people, it's between 6 and 14 ordinary houses. Each one pays you now, grows quietly in the background and rises over time. You don't need 14 deposits. You need to buy well and be patient. And the whole thing runs on maths. You can check yourself, nothing clever, nothing hidden. The question is no longer, could I ever be financially free? It's what's my number and when do I start counting? If you'd like to see exactly how we'd help you get there, the towns, the numbers, the whole process, I've put together a free investor pack and the link is in the description below. And if you didn't drop your number in the comments earlier, do it now before you go. I read everyone and I think you'll be surprised how many people land with a couple of houses of each other. By the way, if this was useful, hit subscribe before you go. It costs you nothing, it helps us more than you'd think, and it means the next one finds you. This is Kayley, the Yorkshire Property Sourcer, helping you invest in property the right way. I'll see you in the next video.